Hi, so good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar organized by the Hong Kong Life Sciences Society. So my name is Janice, and I'll be the MC for today's event. And so to start off with, I'd like to welcome today's speaker, Mr. Stanley Sy, who will be sharing his experiences and insights on how students can effectively and professionally network in the life sciences sector. So a brief introduction about Stanley. He has been an active member in Hong Kong's biotechnology sector for over a decade. So he started his career in research, and then he moved on to more senior roles in genomics and ACT genomics. And then recently in 2020, he founded Aurora Teletechnology Limited to develop telemedicines and services. And then in 2021, he founded and currently leads Hong Kong Regen Medtech Limited to develop advanced therapy products in Hong Kong. And furthermore, his outstanding performance in the industry has enabled him to be selected to serve as numerous governmental committee members and also be a mentor for many student guidance programs. And so without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to Stanley.
Hello, everyone. Yeah. So first of all, thank you so much for the HKLSS for the invitation. Yeah. So I'm so glad that to be one of the speaker to share about the Hong Kong life science. I mean the phenomenon on the current situation of biotech in Hong Kong to all of you. Yeah. And today the topic is about networking. Yeah. So because I cannot see all your face, right? So I just can blind guess all of you here. Yeah. So but okay, before because normally I will use some interactive question way to inspire all of you about the biotech and about the career of you in the coming future. But because today I always think it's very hard to have an interaction through the Zoom. But I will try my best today tonight. Yeah. So I think before we start talk about the networking, as a scientist, what we have to do for every question is the definition of the problem, right? So can anyone tell me what is the definition of networking? Okay, I assume that. Yeah. So okay, because I think I think network is very hard to define, to be honest, because I'm not how many times Asian population society and the living circle, because we always mentioned that okay, in Chinese we have a slang 識人好過識字, right? But actually, sometimes you say that ineffective networking or ineffective social networking, right? So to be honest, I think it's very hard to give a very clear definition of social and networking, right? But I have to tell you the reason why you have to pay a lot of effort in networking. It's not just about you want to climb in a fast way, fast track, but to let yourself to know how inadequate you in the world. For example, as a researcher in biotech, for example, you would like to research a very magical drug or medicine for the world, for example, for some neural disease or cardio disease or cancer disease, right? Wow, you are so amazing. You can find some very special and magical molecular and structure, right? But the key point is that you never know how to deploy to the market, right? Okay, just imagine, okay, now you're so wild, you're so powerful, you have the patent, you have the data, you have the formula, right? The first question I ask you, how you can deploy to the market, right? I'm not sure how many of you have studied about the commercialization world, right? So according to so far my more than 10 years entrepreneur, especially biotech entrepreneur experience, what I have learned so much and what I think is so important during this kind of journey is that you have to make sure that you know the journey or the upcoming journey very clearly on yourself, on your entrepreneur. For example, you have a drug. The next step is how you can industrialize the manufacturing process for your drug. The second step is how you can get the registration for your drug, for example, the FDA and NMPA, right? So after you finish your registration, after you finish your manufacturing process protocol, right? The final step is that how you can put in the market, right? Because you have the drug, right? Because everything you want to do in entrepreneur or biotech is that you want to make some magical change or very impactful change to the world to create and improve the human living, longevity, right? So that means that you have to find someone to use your product, no matter the device or the drug, right? But the key point is that, okay, you pay a lot of effort to finish the manufacturing, you finish the registration, but how you can put in the market, right? Because for the drug, right, not just like someone, oh, cool, I have a drug, so I can post on the Facebook and the social media, like Instagram, then I can let the other people to use, right? Because you have a lot of people to think that I make different stakeholder in this kind of journey, right? So by this, simply to say, just an example, you have a drug, right? The main key point you have to also know is that manufacturing, regulation, and the market, right? But just imagine you're just like you're now just a bachelor student, right? And you have to take another 5 years or maybe 3 years to finish your master or PhD, right? How come you have so time? How come you have so much resources and time to finish all the things, right? You spend more than 8 years or even 10 years to focus on R&D to get the patent, right? So do you think that you can spend another 10 years for FDA registration? Do you think you can spend another 10 years for manufacturing process? Do you think you can spend another 10 years for the marketing, right? The answer is no. And the solution to tackle this one is networking. As a game, because remember, every time when a good product to the world, to the market, it's a team game, right? Don't think you are the only one, because you trust me, you are so small. Remember, I always told myself and my team that we are always just a small potato in the whole journey, in the battle journey. But the key point is that we have to align and reunion or unify all the potatoes. To be honest, okay, you may heard about where you have a lot of very star professor, right? You have star academia, right? But just in a whole, as a whole, to think about every one of them, just a little part of the whole game, right? So the key factor to let the whole game to get works is the networking. For example, I can just use myself as an experience, as a sharing. I finished my bachelor degree and MPhil degree in 6K, right? But I didn't get a PhD. But this is always my regret, because by that time I already got the offer from Cambridge for PhD. But by that time, every time when I want to finish or pursue my PhD, I always met some financial crisis, right? The Lehman Brothers, the Euro crisis, yeah, every time it's like that, right? But it's okay. I get used to that, right? But the point is that, okay, after I finish, I'm at this moment, I'm still not a PhD. I'm not still a professor, right? But I can find that there's always we need a very important role in the biotech is that you need to find someone to get all the elements in a part. I mean, to get all the parts, to combine all together, to assemble to all the parts. That is why you have the networking. For me, okay, I established Excellent first, right? The NIPT company from Professor Dennis Low, right? By that time, wow, we have a very amazing technology, NIPT. And recently, Professor No just got the Alaska Award, right? But the key point is that how he can to deploy, right, the service to the market, right? Because it is very commercial and very entrepreneurial thing. For example, you have technology, then you have to think about you have a company, and you have to rent an office, you have a lab, you have to recruit some laboratory technician, and have to finish your protocol, and then you design your product brochure, your report, blah 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 blah, etc. Right? Just it's very tedious, but that's very important, because without them, no matter how amazing idea you have, how good idea you are going to do, there's no way to deploy. That means that no one would recognize you, and no one can be benefit from your idea and your works, right? So today, the first thing I would like to tell you that is very important as an entrepreneur to know that networking is so important. And actually, this is the key to let every amazing idea to get commercialized and to get put in the market, put in the patient world, or to put in the everyone. Approachable. I mean, to be approachable for everyone that in the world that can change the life or the lives of the people. So there's the first part I want to share. Yeah. So any questions so far? I guess no, right? Okay. So it's okay. So the second part I want to share is that, okay, you may say, hey, Stanley, okay, I know why is networking important. Simply to say that to get everyone to get everyone combined together, right? The second step is how you can network, right? Some of them is, oh yeah, I do a lot of networking. I join a lot of society, right? I joined the student union. I joined the hostel union, and I'm, for example, Rotary trip. right? That's networking, right? Yes, that is yes. But the point is that I think as networking, I think all of you, you know how to network. Because to me, simply to say, the definition of networking is make friends. That's it, right? You don't want to make friends. I think that's a natural instinct of your capability, right? Every one of us is feel alone, right? Is scared to be alone, right? So that means that in the world, in the peer group, we have to find our peer group, right? Our batchmate, our classmate, our colleague, right? Because as a human, you always feel alone. So to be honest, I don't think it's very difficult to all of you to get network. But the key point is how you can get an effective networking, or how to avoid to get ineffective networking, right? So as an entrepreneur, it's very important because your time is limited and your resources is limited. You know what? I recently I'm helping my company Hong Kong Regen Medtech to get the fundraising, right? Well, every week we have 7 days, right? To be honest, currently my schedule is full. Every day is from 9 to 12 at midnight. Yeah. So, but the point is that okay, you spend a lot of time, but it doesn't say that, oh wow, Stanley, you're so hardworking, so you can get what you want, you can get your money or no. First of all, you have to know. First thing you know, networking is make friends. Second thing, regarding the ineffective or effective networking, the key point, to be honest, is random, right? There's no standard formula to let you know how you can be effective networking. And it's just like research in biotech, right? You never can have a formula, right? To see, oh, well, I tell professor, my supervisor, I spent 5 years in this topic. I should have a standard formula to get me that I can finally, I can have a Nature paper, or I can get Nobel Prize. No way, there's no way. But the only way you can get the success from the networking is try and try and try and try. Just like research, right? You have to always embrace the failure. You can by your sense. There's no understanding. For example, okay, sometimes, okay, for example, as a sales of, okay, I'm a sales at the very beginning. To me, I always think about, wow, at the very beginning as a sales role, I always tell myself that, oh, I should have some strategic cold call, right? And have a strategic planning for ourselves. But it doesn't make sense. You never know which is your client. You never know which is your loyal client. And you never know which client will betray you. I may betray you, right? And so my conclusion is that, okay, just ignore all the calculation. Just ignore any strategic plan. It doesn't make sense, right? As a junior, like all of you, right? At this moment, I think that you just let yourself to roll in the market. To try everyone, you never know. Again, to try all your effort, to know anyone you never know before. Okay, for example, just my example, right? You may heard about something very bad about some association, right? For example, I just okay, I can say this way, okay. Any one of you have been approached by insurer or insurance agent before or so far? Okay, I thought yes, right? Yes, yeah. But I think at the beginning, I think all of you will feel very annoyed, right? Oh, how come you get a lot of cold call, blah blah blah. But trust me, you have to learn from them, because they are really doing try and try and try and try without any failure, and embrace the failure, right? And trust me, you can see, okay, you know what, when I finish, I decided I cannot get my PhD, right? Another regret in my life is that I thought, and I should be a insurance agent. If I was that, I think I'm a millionaire already, or billionaire already, and I do not have to be very top in my biotech role, right? No, just kidding, yeah. But I think that after I'm become a sales, I know the beauty of the sales. It's not about you get the money. It's not about you can get a very huge bonus. But the point is that you give your chance to know everyone you never know. And every day you can have a chance to know someone new, or simply to say you can make a new friend every day. So as a junior of you, regarding the networking, just try your anyway to know anything and to know anyone, any stranger, right? You may say, oh, Stanley, you're insane. We know how come you do that, but I can give you an example, right? I think some of you or most of you are a foreigner, right? Okay, I'm a very traditional Chinese student, right? But you can just imagine when you, for example, you're now going to exchange, you're going to US, Europe, UK, right? You will always say that it's very interesting. Everyone just when you bump up them, they'll say, hello, Stanley, and they'll start talking with you, right? How are you? What are you doing? They start telling, they start knowing your story. And also they start telling their story to you, right? So what I want to say, okay, that is why always you can see that why always Westerner can be, I mean, most of the successful entrepreneur, okay, we so-called the successful entrepreneur, they are Western, right? For example, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, blah, 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 blah. There was, I think that there's some very intrinsic problems that by their training, I mean, from primary school, high school, blah, 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 they always know how to make new friends. And they're not scared to make a new friend. But in Chinese, right? You know, just like now, we have a very good night. We have an HKLSS house, right? But it seems that most of you keep silent, right? I think there's a very typical point of Chinese student, right? I know that because I'm one of them, right? When I was young, I'm just doing the same thing with you, right? Just keep silent, right? And never raise a question, right? But as a networking, remember, the only way I can tell you, you get higher chance to success is that don't be shy to listen, and don't be shy to ask, and don't be shy to make a new friend you never know before, regardless what he or she is doing, right? For example, to me, as a medical, okay, I'm a medical stakeholder, right? I have to know everyone, the nurse, the technician, the doctor, the operator, the hospital, whatever, right? And even the supplier, medical supplier, whatever, right? Even like the cleaner, right? Because for example, in hospital, you have a lot of what we call the JJ. You have to know them their work, because the reason why you have to know them their work is not about you want to be a very good friend with them, but you have to have a big picture for the biotech industry. So second, within second section, remember, if you want to be a good networker, okay, don't be shy, and just make sure that you want to make a new friend in your journey. Okay, so hopefully all of you can understand what I want to say, right? I guess yes, right? Yeah, I try. Wow, yeah. Okay, regarding the third session, okay, okay, you may ask Daniel. Okay, now I know the definition of networking. I know how can elevate the successful chance of networking. But why? Again, why? Because I'm an undergrad, right? I'm going to find a job. I may not be that. I may not be want to become an entrepreneur. So why? Why have the networking, right? And you can see, okay, regarding your transcript, right? You never see a feel that how strong your networking is. I mean, how strong your networking capability is, right? So you may ask why, as an employee, right? Or just find a job, why we have networking, right? The answer for this is not about, wow, because I have a 王春國戚, right? Wow, because I know the boss of the company, so I can directly go to that. So I can become one of the intern of JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley, right? Very honestly, don't trust that. It's very hard at this year. Okay, well, let's go back to 20 years before. Yeah, this works, because by that time the information is very asymmetric. But now everything is so transparent, right? You have your million way to access the company. LinkedIn, Glassdoor, blah, 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 friend, blah, 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 right? Trust me, there's no direct way that you can just know someone that you can get in the job. It's very hard. It's very, trust me. So the key point that you networking is that, okay, you have to let your employer know that you are good working with. Because currently a lot of employers were scared when I recruit some new junior, right? Because remember, every boss, they want to recruit someone to help them to do the work, not create a problem, right? Just imagine, right? You're not a good I mean, you're not good, you're good, cannot get along with very well easily, right? So that at the same point, so you have to think about, wow, this is not a good candidate for me, because besides I have to teach him or her how to work in my company. At the same time, I have to teach them, right, how to be a good worker, colleague, to get along with others, right? Trust me, as a recruiter like me, I'm so scared to know those. So because of some how to say 好 awkward. Yeah, I may not use the right word, but I just okay. Maybe I use Cantonese, it might be better. 好騎呢. Yeah, because the key point is that when you be awkward, right, that would definitely hugely impact your team, right? Because remember, as a biotech company, you have to work very busy every day. You have tons of work to do, right? And you don't want to spend time to handle some like the colleague emotion, or you don't want to pay some time to just to make some colleague A to B to get along with well, right? It is very hard. So to me, as a recruiter or interviewer, every time when I ask a candidate, the reason why I would like to whether he or she become a good networker or social networking people, it's not I want to be a friend with them, but just want to share, he or she definitely can be a good worker with my team. So that is so important. Just like becoming simply to say, you have to be nice. You have to say that you can get along with all the colleagues, with different colleagues, right? Remember, it's a biotech company. You have a multi-million different disciplines, right? And there are different people, different character, right? But if you can show that, I'm a good worker, colleague that I can get along with all the one, then that's a key point that you can get the work and you can get the job. So I think almost 30 minutes. So let me have a summary of that. So as a networking, today I shared that the definition of networking, you make a friend. How you can make it effective or elevate to the networking efficiency. Don't be shy and don't do too much calculation on networking. Just try and try and try. And finally, say you don't want to be an entrepreneur or you don't want to be a boss, but you still have to show that you have a very strong networking capability or personality. It's because you have to let your boss, your team that, you can get along with all the other people and you won't make any trouble. So within this 30 minutes, I hope I can share the definition or my experience of the networking in biotech. Thank you.
Wow, that was great. Thank you so much for sharing all your experiences, especially all the tips and what you've learned over the years. But I've actually got a few questions myself. So maybe how do you personally reach out to people outside of your network? So when you really want to reach out to someone who's, say, working at a company that you really want to work at, but you also want to connect with them and they're really not inside of your outer circles, how do you approach that?
Sorry, can you repeat your question? I cannot receive very well. Yeah. Can you repeat? Yeah.
I said, how do you personally reach out to people outside of your network? So what have you done when someone was at a company that you really wanted to work for it, but then they were not in your outer circles at all? How did you reach out to them?
The thing that is so simply because first of all, I need them. I would tell myself I need them, right? For example, I need Professor Low, I need Professor Mo, I need Professor Chu, right? I won't say that they hate me, although I know they hate me, right? But the key point is that you don't be shy, right? Because remember, well, no matter career or your business, it's your own thing, it's your own issue, right? And trust me, no one can prevent you to get success. At the same time, no one can judge you unless yourself, whether the thing you're doing is correct or not, right? So every time when I say, someone, hey, coming, there's a true story. When I remember there's 10 years before, I joined a very decent dinner and I meet some very superior professor, right? And the people around next to me, and I told them, hey, I want to know this professor. And the guy told me, no, you're just small potato, don't stop it, right? I know I'm small. That's why I want to come to join in and to show up, right? Because I want to I want to myself to become get into the radar of the professor, right? I don't know. I finally I just get in. I bump into the professor and to say hi and to put my name cap to them. But obviously, I cannot make sure the professor remember me. But at least to me, I will say that I've tried my best and no regret. And that make me feel so good. You know, sometimes in your life, you have a lot of regret. But the point is that not all the regret you cannot control, right? So back to your question that, okay, with some out of my circle, but if I needed them, I would just try all my best. Okay, 跑面皮, don't be shy. To say that, hey, I'm Stanley. Okay, you may not know me. It's okay, but I want to know you, right? Okay, use another example, right? For example, you want to make a girlfriend or you want to make a boyfriend, right? You don't have any calculation, right? You just say, oh, I like him, I like her. I would say, hey, 抄牌, may I get your phone number or email, Facebook? Done, right? That's the same question. I don't be so complicated your life, right? Always remember in your life, you have life companion, right? Girlfriend, boyfriend, that's the same. Yeah.
So then, like, would you suggest, say if like they're not someone that you can actually meet them, like say if they're really working in a company and they don't do a lot of live events, like where they can come out and they can speak. So like would emailing or say using LinkedIn, would that be like a good way to kind of like start the point of contact for them?
I would say that just try all your way. A cold call, right? The meaning of cold call is just try all the way. Okay, currently you have a lot of ways. Just what you just mentioned, the internal messenger, iMessenger, Telegram, whatever way. But at the same time, you have some traditional way. For example, you can just have memo, you have a letter, right? You have fax, whatever, right? Or you can just give a very little gift, right? For example, a greeting card or a warming card. It's good. It's good enough. Or just say hi, right? Or in Chinese, we have a slang, 雞髀打贏人牙較遠. That means that you just give some trade, right? It's coming, right? Like next Monday is Halloween, right? Halloween is always good, right? You can have all the reason that you don't have any reason, just give some trade to your friend, right? Just like the Valentine's Day itself, right? Remember when you're young, when you don't have a girlfriend or boyfriend, every Valentine's Day you will give the chocolate to your target audience, right? Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Maybe like when you're networking with someone, like what do you think are some essential questions you should be asking that individual? And maybe what kind of information do you think you should also be sharing about yourself?
Myself? You mean doing the networking?
Yeah, like when you're
Oh,
meeting someone new, like what kind of
yeah.
questions do you think we
Yeah,
should?
so I think it really depends on the scenario. For example, okay, case one, you are in a conference. Obviously, you have to share your research work, right? For example, which paper, which school, which study, which supervisor, right? But for example, you're joining in a commercial thing. You show that, okay, I'm a good entrepreneur, blah, 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 right? I have some case study, blah, 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 blah. And you have so, for example, I remember your degree is pharma and business, right? Right? Yeah. So I would, okay, in Chinese, okay, I think this plan is very good, but maybe not not a very ethical thing, but I think it's good. Back to your question, one answer. 見人講人話，見鬼講鬼話. Okay? Okay, simple to say, okay, you have to say the right thing to the right person, right? And at the right manner. Okay, for example, you just imagine when you met a very classic and legendary professor like the Nobel Prize, right? You just keep talking about how you can run a business very successfully, right? It doesn't make sense, right? On the round turn, you go to banker, right? You say, wow, I have this molecule, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't make sense, right? But the point is that 見人講人話見鬼 doesn't mean that you're lying. But remember, you have to classify all your content, right? Okay, another user again as a dating, right? You ever met a girlfriend or boyfriend? Different type of people. You have, for example, one boyfriend he like the sport, the basketball. Of course, you have to tell the basketball instead of tell the football, right? Right. But I think there's a very important technique. But I think it's very, it takes time to let you be well trained of this kind of technique, or we call the sorting or the filtering, right? So back to the conclusion is that don't be shy. Just share, just say what you want to say, right? Remember, you cannot to please all the run around you, right? But instead, you have to use your own way to outstand in your circle. For example, okay, I'm a bartech person, right? No matter, okay, you can ask Ken. No matter anywhere, I will just talk about that, right? Although I know the IT, right? I know Metaverse, I know Bitcoin, right? I know my, but I never tell that. The reason is that I just want to say something I want to say and I want to know, and that my features become very outstanding. So everyone in the world know, oh, in the field, oh, Stanley biotech. But that doesn't mean that I don't know other thing, right? Okay, and another very clear example. In your high school, right? You have English teacher, right? Right? Do you think that he cannot speak Chinese? No, but you know he is English teacher or she is, right? And for example, when teacher teaching science, biology, you don't think you may think that he or she is a biology teacher, but the key point is that it doesn't mean that he doesn't know the history or the geography, right? But the key point is that when the teacher keeps saying the same thing every day, every year, then you will know he is the expert of something, right? So the key point is that you are not going to please everyone. For example, you're a teacher, you are not going to please all the students. You're all-rounder, you know history, geography, music. No, you're not that kind of person because there's very limited power and resources. Instead, make sure that what kind of person, what kind of character you want to outstand, and then you will know what to say in front. What to say to the people in front of you.
So I guess just being yourself and saying what you really want to, like hoping what you want to get out of that person. Just tell them to be direct. Is that what you're saying? Like be direct. Like tell them what exactly you're here for, what you want to learn from them.
Okay, for example, when you got the job interview, right? Okay, I think to me, I always say there's some problem that, okay, when you got some interview training, right? Some workshop will tell you that you have to customize the company that, what kind of company you are going to apply. For example, your personal letter, right? But to me, it doesn't make sense, right? You are not going to pretend anyone, right? As a recruiter, what they want is that they want to find the right one, right? They do not want to make everyone become the same one. Do you know what I mean? For example, I'm a PNG. Okay, I'm a PNG HR, right? I'm not saying that I want to all the people become a PNG person, right? Instead, I want to some intrinsically they are born to be PNG person, right? So, but remember, as an interview, the fail doesn't mean that you're bad, but just mention that there's a mismatch, right? So again, when you want to meet someone to share with you, okay, just share what you want to say. For example, not of course, you're not just telling about that, but you can share, for example, your volunteer work, your social work, right? What your interests, right? So I think that is another very classical example why Westerner will be more outgoing and everyone will say, wow, they're so gang, right? The reason why you think so gang doesn't mean that they're very gang, but they're so focused on what they want to do. But in Chinese culture, all the students, they will be taught about that you have to be all-rounder. That's the main difference, specific and all-rounder. But if you want to be outstanding nowadays, because nowadays I think of course that would be good. You can be all-rounder, but it's very hard. So instead, I think I would suggest you to become more specific. That makes sense.
Okay, I see. We have a question from Justin. So he asks, when dealing in a face-to-face situation, like how do you deal with people who are kind of harder to connect with? Say maybe there just aren't a lot of people within their network you can easily reach out to. Like what would you do in this situation?
Just just be shy. Don't be shy. Just say, just keep cold. For example, I use an example. When I'm being a sales as an prenatal testing, right? I remember there's a client that they always, every time when I approach him, right, he always just threw away your name tag, right? Okay, so I think in this situation, most of you, it's very hard, I should give up. But to me, I think I need him because I know he's a big user, right? He has a lot of cases that I need, right? So finally, I spent 1 year, totally 1 year. I just every day, not every day, every week, I would keep regular to visit his clinic. Okay, no matter I can see him or not. Okay, I will try all the way. maybe I bump him up in hospital, I bump her in clinic, even I bump her in a lunch venue, right? In conference, whatever, right? I just want myself to get in spot, right? Okay, it's very hard. I mean that guy is very hard to communicate. That's true, right? But no, there's no way to have some formula that you can ice breaking for someone, right? Don't think that there's always a formula. But the key, okay, but to me, I think the only way is that try and try and try and keep thinking, just like my motto, keep thinking, keep moving, keep solving, right? If I tell you, okay, hey, I have a one very special formula that you can always ice breaking the guy that they don't like you. If I had this, I think I would got the Nobel Prize. and all the girl and I mean all the girl and boy, you can become your boyfriend and girlfriend, right? There's no way to do that. But the only way that try and try and try. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wow, still many questions. Oh.
There's a question from Laura. She says, so for introverts, like, how do you maintain having this connection with the other person you're talking to, especially if they're a stranger and they're like a kind of important person? Like, how do you keep the conversation going with them and just like maintain the energy, especially if you're someone who kind of struggles with, being more sociable?
I think first of all, just talk something that is we have a mutual understanding, and the most easiest way is that the weather. Yeah, that's always my pickup line. Oh, today is raining. Today is windy. Today is hot. That's always you can start the conversation, because there's no everyone when heard about this company, they will not persist, right? They will not resist, right? And the second thing, just tell some bad thing on the society or the government. Always good, right? For example, oh, this year government have given the money. Oh, not enough. I think I should get more. And for example, if they, oh, today we have a review the holiday. I think I should got more, right? Remember, there's a slang again. 敵人就係朋友. So you have to find the mutual enemy. When you find the mutual enemy, right? You have to go, or more directly, that gossip is always a good thing to do the ice breaking, right? Trust me, that's very good. But of course, we are not going to be a very gossipy, right? But the key point is that you have to very smart and wisely to utilize those kind of gossip things.
Yeah. Okay. So Haley asks, after
follow-up.
how do you do follow-ups with a new person?
Okay, I would say that I think there's a much more clear, a much more specific question. Okay, I think I will utilize some festival, a festival, a seasonal event, for example, Mid-Autumn Festival, Lunar New Year, Christmas, Valentine's Day, Halloween. There's always a good point, because every year just repeat it, right? If you really want to follow up, just to give a little bit, a very small gift is good enough. It doesn't make sense you have to give a very deluxe and luxury wine or chocolate, but you have just give them, you have some greeting message. When you have write a card with a small chocolate, it's good enough. Or for example, you remember, okay, for example, today, okay, it's raining, right? You bring one more umbrella in your bag, and then waiting for that guy to come in. Oh, I have an umbrella. Or you just give a coffee, right? Right. Again, regarding this question, don't think that it's very rocket science problem, right? It's about how you want to make a new friends, and how wholeheartedly you want to make a friends or girlfriend or boyfriend. Yeah. Again, okay, I don't think you want to ask someone how to make a girlfriend or boyfriend, right? It's the same, just the same. If you want to get success in the career, just remember all the one you want to know, and okay, you just treat that is someone that you want to let him or her become your life companion, and you intrinsically and no one can teach you what you want to do, but you will get success ultimately. Yeah.
I see. Maybe then how do you think professional networking has helped you in your career? Like, could you give some examples of how networking has maybe helped you in your business, or how you decided where you wanted to go with your career?
I think first of all, when you have more, when you get more and more networking, I think the key point is that you will know more about yourself. Okay, remember when you are doing examination, I think most of you would prefer to do the multiple choice instead of a long question. I guess as a science student, right? The reason is that it's very hard to get the question. It's very hard to get an answer for the open question. For example, what do you want to do? It's very hard, right? But as a multiple choice, first of all, you have a choice. The key point is that you may not answer directly, but what you can do is the elimination. You know what I mean? So it's the same. When you do more and more networking, you will know more and more about yourself and what you don't like or what you dislike. Remember, don't believe that when you do more and more networking, you will know what you want to do. No. But the point is that you will know what kind of thing you dislike. And then you just eliminate out. And you do this one step by step. And ultimately, you will find what you want. So as a networking, the key point that why you can focus, ultimately, why by networking, you will know what you want to do in your career is that you can eliminate out what kind of job you don't want to do.
Do we have any more questions from the audience? Feel free to ask as the floor is open for questions.
Okay, so maybe I give a final closing for this company. Yeah. So of course, at your stage, I think most of you are undergraduate student, right? There's no any PhD here, right? Yeah. So I think at this moment, the networking, I think that would be good. You go to join some association or society. Of course, HKLSS is the best place for all of you. Right? But the point is that you join the association and the society is that you can save a lot of time for you to filter and choose, right? Because trust me, HKLSS had do all the thing and all the best thing for all of you because they cannot make you get success directly. But again, they can help you save a lot of time and resources, or even they could provide some resources for you to network, right? So at the start point of networking, if you think, oh, I'm not a good networker, right? It's very hard for me to get a friend. For example, I'm a very introvert or very I'm not open-minded, right? Don't worry. Just let others to help you to do the networking. And the very good point and start point is that to join some society to let them know what you want to do and they will help you, right? That is we call the ecosystem. And those kind of society is the key point is they want to find the right talent to the world, to the field and to the industry. So they will let you know which way you want to. Okay, they will direct you that some way that you have to go. For example, you want to be a researcher PhD or you want to be an entrepreneur, they will direct you. So you can save a lot of time. And every time when you have a networking problem, for example, just imagine when you have some problem with your boyfriend and girlfriend, you talk with your friends, right? Just treat the society and association as your friend for career. And they will save a lot of time. Okay, I always say that I hate CAN and HKLSS. The reason is that why I don't have HKLS when I was young, right? Why I'm a biotech student, right? I start my biotech career in 2009, but by that time I have to just find step by step, 慢中中, to find the career. I honestly I waste a lot of time and I spend a lot of bad effort to find the right way. But now I think as HKLSS, they provide all very integrated, comprehensive solution for you to guide you to the right track and even to the success. One, you can start the networking small, say start in 1 or 2% who you like or find. Oh, yeah. So any question? Yeah.
Maybe like one last question is,
yeah,
how should you approach someone from the industry when you're looking specifically for internships or job opportunities?
Oh, First of all, you have to find Ken. Yeah, because no. I think there's not factory, but that's true. I think okay. I know. I think I trust, or I know. I should say I know. HKLSS has concluded and find all the local company or even overseas company. I mean, potential company, partner company for all of you. So don't waste the time to find yourself. No, trust me. When I was young, I really spent a month to screen out, to find, to read the portfolio. It's a totally waste of time, right? And remember, nowadays it's very efficient information symmetric era, right? Don't spend your time. Remember, just utilize all your network around you, and especially for those association and society.
Great. So I think that's going to wrap up today's event here. So thank you everyone for your questions. And also thank you so much, Stanley, for being here today.
Sure.
Hope you guys all have enjoyed this event and found it rewarding, especially when it comes to, learning how to reach out to people outside of your network and also just being brave and taking that bold step. Just a reminder for next week, we have the Power of Visual Communication in Sciences webinar. So HKLSS has invited Dr. Alistair Louis, the Managing Director and co-founder of Regen Studios, to introduce his latest project in translating scientific ideas into powerful visuals that will appeal to a broader audience group. And so if you haven't registered for that webinar, please visit HKLSS's social media platforms for those details. And also, last but not least, HKLSS also has a public event right now at the Nan Fung Place this weekend. And so our interns will manage the pop-up booth and will share some related facts about brewing science and also some mini games for everyone to interact with. So if you have a chance, please come along to Nan Fung Place and have a look at our new Scientist Brew pop-up. And also you can scan the QR code in the bottom right corner just for more details. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. Have a good evening.